Okay, so we're on the farm here. Tyson's Foods in the United States of America is fleeing the country because of Trump's tariffs. So we know the Americans that are watching my video that are, you know, got what is that called? Hindsight? It's not foresight. Foresight's in the past. Hindsight's in the past. Foresight. If you've got foresight and maybe a little bit of wisdom and just some common sense, you'd probably appreciate this video at the end of it. Whether it's a full video or 1-2-part video remains to be seen. Because now what we're going to do is finish up with whatever I salvaged from that deep freeze. Okay? And I'm thinking to do the raspberries. Although Andre is saying that the raspberries are already growing. But that's fine. There's going to be a fair amount. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a quick rinse. And there should be enough to probably fill up this pot right to the rim, I would think. If I have to get a little bigger pot, I will. Maybe I should. Because I'm thinking to cook it up. And then after it's cooked, I'm going to put it in the fridge. Because as it's cooking, I'm going to...
if I sketch a plan into Motion Docs, they can pull the action steps right onto the
as it's cooking,
If I'm in a meeting, the AI note taker captures everything.
I'll use this pot.
Those action steps
But I have to wash
And
it.
the same goes for email threads with dates and to-dos all sprinkled in, all of it pulled into my calendar form. Filling in the holes in my life was like...
So, I will can these up for something, and as the raspberries grow, depending on what happens to them, I can still can some of those. Only I can them differently. These ones I'm going to cook up and just bring them down to a, you know, bare bone. I kind of want to de-seed it and cook it up that way, but I don't got time for that right now. So I'm just going to cook them up. And then I will put them in the fridge, and I'll deal with them tomorrow or the next day. And maybe I'll throw in some fresh ones, being Andre saying that they're starting to ripe outside. Because by then I should be done the kale, because I am going to do the kale. I have a fair amount, and I do have 500 ml size jars. They're wide mouth. I didn't want to use them. I wanted to use regular mouth, but Tisha couldn't find any. So I'm just going to can it in pint size, this kale, because it's 70 minutes, right? In a pint. I don't want to do 90 minutes in a quart. And plus, that's a little bit too much to eat for Andre, Mari, and myself. A pint, I can do something with, right? I don't think I'm going to be poisoning anybody here. If anything, it's going to be real tasty, like those blueberries and blackberry that I cooked up yesterday. And those tomatoes as well, okay? So, you know, I can't let my son's negativity humiliate me for any reason, so that I won't do anything and curl up into a little ball and just wait for the next insult. I'm just saying. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with these raspberries first, and we're going to cook them and stew them for a little while. And they're going to probably smell really good as that's occurring. Put in a little bit of sugar, and I do have half pint size jars, and I'm just going to can them in that. But what we're going to can today is the kale, And then I have some beef liver there, and another bag with something in it, but I couldn't really tell. I'm thinking it's probably a beef or something like that. So I'll can those up in the salmon-sized jars that I have. Oh, and there's bacon there that my son said is discolored, and that would be normal. So I figure I'm going to fry up a few pieces of one little bag of bacon. I'm going to fry it up first, see what it's like. If I like it, then I'll can them in salmon-sized jars. If I don't like it, then it's garbage. And the seagulls and eagles can get it at the garbage dump. I'm not worried about it. Outside of, you can can bacon. And if I do can it, I'm going to can it a different kind of way this time versus how I've done it in the past. But before I do that, I'm going to fry some up and see if I like it. But first we're going to start with the kale. And see how many jars we get. I have 12 and a few miscellaneous regular mouth size, pint size. And I can fit up to 16 pint size jars in my pressure canner. So we'll see how many jars, because there seems to be like 2 bags of kale, beet leaves, and probably Swish chard. Who knows? So I'm not going to be stupid and throw that away. Okay, I'm going to incorporate it into our meals. And because I have it, and I'm living on the farm, and I won't be able to grow it because I can't right now, I don't have to worry about buying it because I'm going to use what I have. I'm going back to the farm when my grandmother and my grandfather lived on the farm and raised 5 kids in a one-room house with no running water and an outhouse far from the house as a washroom. Okay? You know, my Uncle Nick he used to always say, I guess it relates to the Bible as a religious person, right? In terms of being a Christian. What do you call it? He said, there's going to come a time, Judy, when the world is going to go back to the horse and buggy. And he was like a top-notch car salesman. So was my Uncle Harry, right? They were the #1 car salesman in all of Alberta in their days, right? And what do you call it? But he always said the world is going to go back to the horse and buggy. In other words, technology is going to come to a screeching halt. And if people want to survive, they're going to have to go back on the farm with the horse and the buggy. Yeah. You're going to have to know how to can. You're going to have to know how to repurpose things that maybe got ruined, but didn't quite get ruined because you rescued it and you preserved it in a different kind of way like I'm doing right now, just so that you have something to eat, being that you only have a horse and a buggy. You know, forget the internet, forget the cars, forget the fridges, forget the stoves. Unless it's a wood stove, like an old antique wood stove. Good luck finding that. Okay, there's also a couple of other little containers here. I had Andre bring it. So, that's blueberries. And then there's one raspberry here. Those people downstairs, they eat a lot of fish now. I'm wondering if my son is being deprived of meat. He big boy, right? And I don't know. They're on some sort of fish regime. And all I can think about is the more fish you eat, the more you bring mercury into your body. Does this affect your brain? Oh, I know where that thing is. It's over here.
It's fluid, and it's actually simple.
New tool for Chard, new perspectives on it.
Answer the phone.
Which definitely showed me the urge of even going deeper into
Answer the phone.
It's super exciting.
There was a container here with raspberries in it. Where did it go? Who is it? Andre? Can you answer me? Can you answer me?
Okay, well, let me give you my now.
Who is it?
Here.
Well, bring me the phone. Hello?
Can't. You didn't make it so stuck in there.
No, I'm not answering the research, ma'am. Okay? Thank you. Sorry. All right. No research. Can you help me find those other little raspberries in that one container? It was here. I'm not doing a research. Andre, please, because I'm almost done getting these raspberries ready to cook. If I don't like them, I'm not keeping them, people. Okay? It's pretty straightforward. Right? There's another one of these containers with raspberries with the plastic lid on it, okay? Remember? I think it's over there somewhere. Did you see? No, it's not. I took it out. It's just there somewhere. Over there somewhere.
No, that's...
Oh, got it. It was on the floor. Okay. Alright. I'm good now. So, we'll just put those in there. Give them a quick rinse. Obviously, you're rinsing away the juice, but whatever. Oh, you're just cross-contaminating everything with meat that's leaking out of bags. I said everything's vacuum sealed, for crying out loud. Bagged and bagged and bagged. Re-bagged 3 times. Whatever's leaking is leaking in the bag. It's not leaking out. Like, shut up. And even if it was, you can rinse it off, and once you cook it long enough, you killed off anything as you would if you went and bought fresh meat and fucking put it in your fridge and then cooked it up. So shut up. Like, seriously, I'm just so fed up with bullshit. Yeah. So yeah, the way the world is going, eventually it's going to come to that. I do believe that too. Maybe not for a while. All right. It's got to be that boil the frog situation. Okay, so I'm not even going to put any water in that. I'm just going to bring it on into low and just heat it up slowly so the juices leak out. And I might even end up putting it through a sieve. It's hard to say, like a cheesecloth. It just make juice, maybe. I don't know. So hold on. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go as fast as we can. We're not going to feel sorry for ourselves. We're not going to... Andre, be quiet. Please, not so loud. We're not going to let other people's naysaying, insults, mocking you, ridiculing you, criticizing you for doing something that, in your opinion, is important, being that you're finding yourself with an empty pot. You know, go piss in an empty pot. You know that saying, you have an empty pot to piss in? Well, I ain't pissing in my pot. Okay, what I got is a big bag and another bag of leaves. So, and I'm going to salvage the bags as well as I go about my business here. So we need a bowl for that. So as you see, and here's another bag. Do you see? Okay. Is that pot going to be big enough for 2 of those things? I don't think so. But I got enough jars to can it up. So we're just going to take 1 bag, this one first. Okay. And we're just going to empty it into the sink. And then as I empty the bags, I'm going to put them in here. Can't say I didn't try. You see, that's the thing, right? But when you can't get access to it or whatever, you know. Do you see what's going on here? What does it say on the bag? Nothing. Now, what we can do as we go along our day with this, so everything's bagged within bagged, okay? There is no cross-contamination. Some of this shit's still frozen. Like this one's half frozen already. I can feel it. It's frozen right there. You want me to prove it? I'll show it to you. Okay? And this is what I mean. People want to sit up there and insult you, criticize you, treat you like you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Look how much food that is. Okay? Do you know how much money that is? A lot. Do you hear it? It's frozen. So we're going to break it up into the, yeah, freaking half frozen. We're going to break it up, and then we're going to take this bag, and we're going to throw it in that bag, because I'm going to rescue these bags and save the money, because I'm living on a freaking farm, man. Okay? How do you think they did it on the farm? This one says beet leaves. Let's do these other ones first. Okay? Another bag. Here's, yeah, frozen. Okay? You're stupid already. Seriously, man. You can hear it. You can hear the ice crystals falling into the pot. I need to rinse it, so I gotta put this pot right there. Because as I rinse it, I'm putting it in the pot because I'm going to end up warming it up. Okay? But I'm going to give it a quick rinse because there's still little ice crystals and stuff. And that's not what I want. I just want the leaves. And then after everything's in there where I can't really get that much more in there, that's when I'm going to take it to the stove and start it on low and start warming it up as I start washing jars. Okay, I don't know what this is, but again, frozen. Yeah, and he's hollering and screaming at me, calling me an idiot, and then I'm out to fucking poison people. Like, shut up. Now, I'm working towards getting out of this place as I continue to pay rent, and the money that I'm giving my landlord for that bin, I'm getting back by doing this. Waste not, want not. And being that I don't mind being on the farm, I don't mind doing this. Because I'm going to use it. Yeah. So just go from bag to bag. And then wash my jars, and because they're going in the pressure canner, I don't have to sterilize them. All I have to do is fill them up, do a 70-minute can, depending how fast these jars fill up. If I can do the beef liver with this, I will. But if this takes up 16 jars, pint-sized jars, and that's all I can do, well then that's what I'll do for 70 minutes. And then I'll plan for the last can for 75 minutes between the bacon and the beef liver. And I'll always give that beef liver to the cats if I don't like it. Right? If it's no good, you're going to smell it. And then that's a 75-minute count. Okay, you don't have to go nuts with this. You just have to rinse off with a little bit of crystals, ice crystals, or, you know, excess whatever. Give it a squeeze a little bit. Squeeze it out. And then put it in the pot. And get on to the next freaking bag. Mix them all up together. When it comes to the marrow stuff, I've decided, because there's enough of this to deal with, if I want, in a week or 2 or 3, I can go outside, pick some of that marrow, and can that fresh, right? And have that as well. And that's the difference, you know, for my greens over the winter. So I'm not spending money, or even wasting money for that matter. Because, you know, sometimes I buy this stuff, I get busy, it's another freaking crisis, another attack, who knows, anything could happen, right? Because that seems to be the cycle here. You know, so I'm doing this for meals, however, or soups, or whatever it is that I do. Yeah, you know, saving these bags. Takes just a little time to wash them and rinse them off. This looks like, honestly, this looks like, what is that called? Swish chard. Which is, that's Swiss chard from my garden. I mean, it tastes like Swiss chard. And I got it wrong when it comes to the grocery store. Spinach is usually $2 a bunch, and they're small, usually, very small. Kale is between $3 and $4 a bunch, and Swiss chard is $5 a bunch. Yeah. What's this one? It's something green. I can't see the green, but I know it's something green. Oh, beet leaves. I'm putting it in there. That's beet leaves. It probably says beet on here. Yeah. After all these years, it tastes like beet leaves. 2017, just like those tomatoes. Yeah. How did I know? I didn't see it, but I could taste it. So what does that tell you? Tells you something. You know, the government has all these underground bases, stockpiling on food. People are saying, and it also has beet stems. Yeah. I'm mixing them all together. I don't care. It'll work. You know, they have these underground bases where they're stockpiling food. Yeah. With all these recalls, people are saying that the government is recalling this. Like every week there's recalls of something because, you know, they're taking that food and like, you know, they're like in the mountains and these I don't know what they are, bunkers or something. You know, high-tech bunkers for the elite. And, you know, they've carved into mountains where they drive trucks right in with a shitload of food that came from somewhere and then being stored in the event of an emergency. Wow. Government can do it, but people can't? And if you can, what happens? You get criticized over it and insulted, humiliated, attacked. It's stupid. Well, okay, so that's empty. Put that in there. Now we're going to rinse off all this stuff. Okay, we're just going to give it a quick rinse. Still cold. Tastes good. If it tasted like crap, do you honestly think I'd can crap? No. Now the beet leaf is strong in terms of it's a beet leaf, right? So it's a little more bitter than say a Swiss chard. But at the end of the day, it's still going to taste good when you salt it, butter it, and if you want, you could use a little bit of vinegar after the fact with it, or you know, you put it in your soup or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Okay? If you want, you could dehydrate it. I've done this before where something happened and I had to, you know, right, dehydrate it. It will stay green for a very long time because it's been basically blanched. And this stuff is all pre-cut too, you know. I put a lot of time and effort into this stuff. Like, you know. And that's why I'm just going to move on, people, because I'm tired of this. You know, if Shimei was here, she'd be helping me. And we'd be talking about getting the hell out of this freaking nightmare that I'm finding myself in. Yep. Yep. Okay, so we don't want to take out all the liquid. Just enough. We just wanted to get the surf because we need the liquid when we're canning, right? So we're going to put that in there. Oh, I hope I didn't lose it. Well, all over the floor, maybe? I don't know. Can't see, right? I miss the mark sometimes. I've got to be careful that it doesn't fall. Oh, well, whatever. If something fell, something fell. Okay, where can we put this? I don't want it to fall. There we go. Alright. Now we got this big ass bag. Don't tell me I didn't try. If my family needed it, they could have had it, but they don't like that kind of stuff. And the ones that did aren't no longer around. So, there you go. Doesn't give it right for some man to think they have the right to be abusive towards you. Oh yeah. I froze, I even froze, what is that called? Grapevine leaves. I don't need those. Those can go in the compost. I got grape, that's all grape leaves. You can can these if you wanted to. That's grape leaves. These ones have been cut. Ooh. I don't eat grape leaves, but I suppose that's what a grape leaf tastes like. It has a little bit of a citrus bite to it. Okay, so we don't need these anyway. That's if I need grape leaves, I got them outside, just like that marrow plant. I'm not one to be really eating grape leaves. Okay, so what's in here? Looks like more. If I can get everything into one big pot. More beet leaves and stems. 2017. It doesn't matter to me. Now this one's a one big ass bag. It says Kale 2015. Kale and zucchini 2015. You can't can zucchini any more than you can really can squash. So the only thing that I would suggest if you wanted to really keep it is dehydrate it and maybe turn it into powder. But I'm not really dehydrating anything right now, so I'm not too worried about that. Yeah. And maybe with those other kale leaves, maybe I'll keep them separate in a separate pot, because this pot's filling up pretty fast. And once I do these little beet leaves, it's going to overwhelm the kale that's already in there, right? And actually, that might even be a good time to go outside. Like, keep that one bag for kale, like just kale by itself, and then maybe go outside after these are canned and can that one tomorrow with some of those marrow leaves with it. That would work, right? Just so that you get your you know, you get your maximum value for your canning session, right? You can hear it. It's frozen. Do you hear it? It's still frozen. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, shut up, man. Don't be screaming at me that I'm doing something bad here. Like, to hell with you. Seriously. Oh. It's awful life I live, I told you. I try not to think about having regrets with having kids. I never dwell on that. I want to think about it sometimes, like, you know, oh, I wish I'd never had kids. But I refrain from those thoughts. As negative as I can be sometimes, I try not to ingrain that in my brain and just tell myself that there are no guarantees in life. And just with YouTube, coming into contact with, I don't know what this is, I have to taste it. I'd say a kale. That's a kale. With murder of this and murder of that. Murder everywhere, murder. You know, if it's not little teeny children getting murdered, it's teenagers getting murdered. If it's not that, it's the people that Truth Reality reports on being murdered. And just, you know, and just so much murder. So, you know, so many people are dying, right? And so that's the way I just kind of like, in terms of the death of my daughters, like, nothing is new under the sun. You know, clearly human beings are messed up in the head when they got to go around murdering people as much as they do, regardless of their age. Not to mention all the other stupid shit that people do. You know. So. Yeah, this is a kale. Let me see what the stem is. Probably, I don't see stems. This is not a Swish chard. Oh, it's all chopped up nice though. So you know, when you go to heat it up, you know, you don't need to worry about overcooking it, because first of all, it's already been blanched. Some pieces have been chopped up, maybe with the stems, where other pieces are full leaves, okay? And it doesn't matter how it goes in the jar, so that's fine. You just heat it up, put it into your jars. You know, obviously there has to be liquid in there, right? Hopefully there will be enough liquid from this. If not, you just add in a bit more liquid. And then 70 minutes. And yeah, you can use this for soup or whatever you want. You can strain it, heat it up again. No, strain it. You heat it up first. Any low acid, you heat it up, bring it to a boil, right? Do your little 10-minute dance. You can strain it, let it strain out really, really, really good. And then let it dry out a little bit. And you can incorporate that into bread. Because pretty soon I'm going to just stop buying bread. Yeah. Because I'm on the farm, remember? So with that, we have to make our own bread. Pizza doughs, everything. I told Andre, as soon as this new mill comes, yeah, and we start using it, that's it. I'm not buying bread no more. Nope. Because I've got everything in the house that we need for bread. Minus maybe my proofing baskets, because I can't find my proofing baskets. And I don't know if they were in my room or somewhere else. And if maybe Rhea found them and stole them. And that would be for sourdough bread, right? Okay. And I guess that's a okay. So we got a little bit of, see, what is this? Is this beet leaves? Beet stems? That's beet. Sweet, because they came from my garden. Very sweet. Wow. I can make borscht with this if I wanted to. Yeah. Just bring it to a boil. Let it cool down. Chop it up real fine. Make your, and I got dehydrated beets around here. Quite a few, really. Maybe we'll do that one day. How about that? We'll use a jar of this and dehydrated beets from back in the day. Fukushima radiation days. Or whenever else, because I've done it a few times around, right? Over a period of years in this house. And I bet you we'll make a really good pot of borscht. Beet soup. Ukrainian style. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we're going to put that in there. All right. Of course, it's hard for me to see, and that's why people are getting more and more vicious about what they do. If you notice, so if you're getting old and coming into contact with, life challenges because of aging, like I am, don't be surprised if people don't start abusing you too. But the same rule applies as like when you were young. If you didn't allow people to abuse you when you were young, and you left abusive relationships because of right? Because you didn't want to be abused when you were young, you're not obligated to stick around and be in an abusive relationship when you're older. It doesn't matter what. And maybe that's the moral of the story here when it comes to my situation and why I talk about the things that I talk about, which I have no reason to fabricate. As if I'd go out of my way to create a big pot of frozen food from 2015-17 that I grew in my garden when it was safe to do so. Just to make a point on a video. Okay, so I'm going to leave now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give it 1 cup of water anyway. I may end up having to put more water in it, or what we'll do, we'll just put the 1 cup of water in there plus whatever water is dripping off after me rinsing it. I don't think you're going to get much leaching out when it's cooking, but we're not cooking it. We're just going to heat it up and just get it to a point where it's hot to go into the, not somewhat hot, right? Not boiling hot. You don't need to boil it. It's already been cooked. It's been blanched. So you don't want to cook it any more than you have to, right? But I could just throw it into honestly, to make it easy on myself, I don't have to heat this up. I just need to mix it up a bit better, right? Get some salt. Well, no, what I'll do is, because it's going in the pressure canner for 70 minutes. That's a long time, right? You can put the salt at the bottom of the jar. If it's a pint, I'd go a half a teaspoon of salt per pint. And then you could just take this after it's been mixed up and, because you got different leaves, so you want to just mix it all up. Open up the ones that are like the bigger leaves, right? Right? Don't break them, just, right? Do you see? Okay? And then you could fill up your clean jars. Whatever liquid is on the bottom of this pot, you can distribute it between the jars. And then you can just get some cold water, fill up your jars, seal your jars, put your jars in a cold canner, pressure canner, right? Put your lid on, turn on your heat, get it to the point where it's venting. See, this is from my yard. This is kale. I can see a little bit. I can barely see, but I can see. I can feel it too, right? That's kale from my yard. You know, vent it, and then once it's ready to, you know, then you put on your little weight, and once you get to your 10 pounds per pressure or whatever it is for your altitude, just start canning it. So I'm not even going to warm this up. No, I'm going to do it that way. It doesn't need to be warmed up. It just needs to be sealed in a jar. And this other one, I have two choices. I can either rinse it off, and then after it's rinsed, put it in a bowl, and put it in the fridge, and probably deal with it tomorrow. Or, because I can't do two 70-minute runs. That's too long. I can deal with this, and then maybe the raspberry, because that's just a 10-minute can, 10-minute can in the water bath. And I can use the same water depending on how much leaches out from the jars when I can this, just by adding more water. And then tomorrow get up, and because it's a small bag, see, you got to have a battle plan, right? And because it's a small bag of just kale by itself, I can show you. Oops, here's one more. Every little bit counts when you're on the farm. Especially, you know, I'm going to put water in the bag. Whoosh it around. Just want to give it a quick little rinse. Okay? See? Yeah, that's beet leaves because I can see something red coming out. Give it a bit of a squeeze. There you go. Put it in there. And this is what my son wanted me to throw out. And called me foolish. This, I don't have to do today. Although I could probably rinse it out, get it in a pot, maybe try and find some room in the fridge, so that tomorrow all I have to do is pull it out, put it in some jars. Well, yeah, put it in some jars. And because it's such a small amount, that's not going to take that many jars. If I wanted to, this is all kale. I'm pretty sure this is all kale. You can see there's a lot in there, okay? You can see. I have 250 ml size jars. I can put them in 250 ml size jars. And then I've got 24 salmon jars, okay? So I can do the kale tomorrow with a little bit of marrow or whatever. And as I'm canning that at 70 minutes, I'll just increase it to 75. And if the liver is fine and the bacon is fine, I'm going to can those as well. And that's all I would have canned for meat. But I won't know until I fry the bacon. I want to make sure it tastes okay, right? And yeah, when bacon, you know, depending on the type of bacon it is, you know, you freeze it, it gets a, you know, it doesn't retain its nitrate color per se. And that could be very well just straight pork without any nitrates in it for all I know. You know, that's why I have to fry it up to taste it. And maybe that's why it looks the way it is, because it's not full of freaking nitrates. It could be just straight up back bacon that hasn't been cured. Well, not back bacon, but bacon that hasn't been cured. You know, the kind that you just do salt and pepper with? Who knows? I don't know. Okay. And then we just get the lid. I'll show you. This is going to be, I can do 7 jars. This will probably be more than 7 jars, I would think. But actually I can stack and pack them because they're pints. So I'll wash all the pints. All the pints, the wide mouth pints. I'll wash them all. I figure 9, maybe 9 jars. What do you think? Right? So now I'm just going to put this on the stove. And I'm going to wash my jars. Get the canner ready. I'm going to deal with this. I'm not going to second guess myself. I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm not the one that was being negligent here. I was thinking about my family. It was there if they wanted to eat it, but that's not their style yet, right? Because they're living in the big city with 1 million grocery stores in it, with a government that loves them and will always provide food for them at a cost in terms of go to the grocery store and buy it. And, yeah. Okay, so you can see what's going on here. So we got, now, actually there is 1 jar of blueberries that didn't seal. I'm glad I did this because now I remember. I'm going to bring it out. And when I do the raspberries, I'm going to reseal that jar. It's in the fridge right now. So I washed these. I just have to label them up, right? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 pint-sized blueberry, right? From what was in the freezer. One of these jars here should have blueberry on it. I don't see it written down, but I wrote it down. Oh, don't tell me it washed off. Oh, wow, geez, isn't that just grand? It looks like it may be washed off. Well, one of them is blueberry. Maybe Andre can figure it out. And then we've got another, so I did the 7 of the other quart size, right? We talked about that. So I washed these ones. There's 6 of those. So that's what, 13 of those. So that's pretty good, right? And then we've got these, which is also very good. You can see what's going on here. And now we're going to test the waters with the raspberries and see what they end up tasting like after we start cooking them, right? And if they taste like a raspberry, then we'll add some sugar in there, okay? And we'll just have to wait and see, right? Now you could dehydrate that if you wanted to, but I find that dehydrating raspberries changes the taste of the raspberry, and I don't like it. And then we've got a fairly large size pot full of beet greens, beet stems, Swish chard, and kale. And then Andre took that other kale with the bag, right, and put that in the fridge, which I will deal tomorrow with the beef liver and the bacon. And that will be tomorrow's video, assuming I don't burn out. And of course there's something on the burner. Andre, you gotta stop getting crap on the burner. It's either macaroni or egg.
I didn't get nothing on that.
Come here and smell it. I can smell it. Yeah, I don't like that, Andre. Okay. Jars. Start washing jars. Get my jars ready. Get my canner with a bit of water in it. It's already clean. I don't know how many jars that will be. You know, it's almost like I could do them all to be honest with you. I don't think that, I wouldn't take much to rinse off the kale. I don't know, we'll see. And if you notice, as I'm being accused by several people, for one reason or another, that I don't do anything, right? Just a big waste of time, right? And sit on my ass, and yada-de-ya-ya. You know, they don't see this as work. No. I'm sure I have videos on that. When I go work on my playlist, I'll keep an eye open for them. Yep, probably did videos on it, people. And I was bagging them up, talking about it. Shimei was murdered in 2017. Sierra was already lost because of what happened to her. My son didn't care about anything in 2017, 2015. He was just doing him, you know. But if he really would need it and he was really hungry or he wanted to eat right for his meals, he could have used it, but he didn't care. Didn't care about that kind of stuff. And he obviously doesn't care about it right now. They probably, well, they I don't think they eat kale and beet greens, that kind of stuff. Like, they don't eat that kind of stuff, but they have their little salads with baby spinach and that kind of stuff, which I don't personally like myself. But there's another plant in there that I don't like, right? But they like it. I don't criticize them. I don't tell them that they're wasting their time and, you know, they're making the wrong choice and, you know, they should be buying something else. And, you know, I don't sit up there and fucking criticize them. Man. So anyway, I think, because you have to have liquid in your jar, eh? So, with that said, I'm not going to do the kale. And I'm going to leave it in the fridge. And I'm just going to see how many jars I get with this. At first, I'm going to wash 12 jars. And then if for some reason I need a few more, then I'll do a few more. Because I have a few more pint size. Not many, but I got a few. And then for the kale, I'll just use the jam size 250 ml because it's enough there to fill up the case. And I have 2 cases and 3 or 4 jars kicking around. So I can do that. And then I got 2 cases of salmon jars to at least maybe do the beef, liver, and the pork. Depends, right? Again, it depends, like how it fries up, right? What it smells like, and if I think I can can it, I will. I'm gonna be living on the farm. That's what I'm gonna do. You watch and see. I'm not afraid of the farm, people. I'm not. I came from the farm. I was born on the farm, for crying out loud. My grandfather beat my mother so bad that she almost lost me on the farm. Okay? I was put in a little box when I was born. I didn't even have a crib. You know how you're on the farm, one-room house farm with a wood stove in the center of it, and my grandmother had 5 kids, and I was born. I was in a what is that? A dresser drawer. That was my home on the farm. Okay. So I'm not afraid to be on the farm. I'm not afraid. No, maybe that's another reason why I'm not afraid of food. Unlike my son, who's all fucking paranoid. But yet he eats baby spinach and those prepackaged things that sometimes get contaminated with E. coli and, you know, because they're fresh, right? And they're prepackaged and they're always putting recalls out on that kind of stuff. And he eats that stuff like no tomorrow. I don't like it. I don't necessarily trust it. But whatever, each to their own. With his fish, shrimp. There's no calories in shrimp. Why he's eating shrimp all the time? Are you trying to lose weight? He's a hungry man. He works hard. He needs calories. Right? Maybe his body is hungry or something. Yeah. She feeding him shrimp all the time. I noticed he's eating a lot more shrimp, fish, because of her. She likes fish. Yeah, until you get it overdosed on mercury, depending on the type of fish you eat. So we're just going to wash these jars, get them ready, and then see what goes on. I had to add a bit of water with the raspberries because obviously I squeezed out all the juice. So those raspberries just might not be no good because once you start squeezing out the juice, what do you got left over? Pulp and seeds that don't maybe necessarily taste very good. So I tried not to squeeze out the juice, but it went down the drain when I poured it into the thing and rinsed them off. I lost a lot of juice. So if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Then it's going out in the compost. I don't care. If it's salvageable, I'll salvage it because those things are just as expensive as blueberries, blackberries, freaking any kind of freaking berry in the grocery store. Right? And of course, I'll be accused of doing nothing, wasting my time, being foolish, right? And putting my family at risk for doing something that I think is economical and worthwhile. Right? And being that I'm on a mission to, you know, keep the ship afloat and steady as she goes, even though I keep being bombed by a bunch of freaking, I don't know, something out at sea. You know how boats get under attack? Well, I'm trying to get through the passage. Even if I have a hole in my bow, I just need to get through the passage. In other words, get the hell out of this house. When I can, right? Okay, so I have to plug this camera in a minute. So there's that stuff. There's that stuff. Here's a spoon. Okay? My nose is running, eh? Now, we're just going to give it a quick stir. I did add a little bit of water in it, because like I said, a lot of juice went down the drain. But I wanted to rinse it off, so that's okay. Give it a little bit of a stir. And then, now it hasn't come to boil yet. So, you know, the more you boil it, it's going to release something from the berries that are still somewhat intact. But for now, we're going to see if it has any flavor. I can see already it doesn't have enough liquid at this point for what I want. Where am I? There I am. Okay, let's taste it. Okay, so I don't know if you've seen that because the camera blinked out as soon as I took a sip of the juice from that pot with the raspberries in it, and It tastes like raspberries, but not as, Andre, turn down the volume, please. But not as,
Is that good?
yeah.
Or is it more?
No, that's fine. But not as sharp as if, you know, you freshly picked them and they were just perfectly ripe. Okay? Nothing that a little sugar can't just enhance in terms of, it tastes like raspberry. It's just not as juicy because I added a bit more water. But I'm going to end up boiling it down. I'm going to bring it to a boil. You know, and then I'm going to turn it down and I'm just going to simmer it. Honestly, I want to run it through a cheesecloth and make a raspberry jelly, but that, you know, that takes time and I don't got time for that. So we're just going to bring it to a boil and then turn it down and let it simmer with some sugar in it. Actually, the jars have to be sterilized. As if I want to sterilize a few jars for that. That's the biggest nuisance. But I'm going to, no, for the amount of jars that I need for that, probably won't be that many. It's easier for me to put the jars in the oven and do it that way versus do a water bath to boil the jars. I don't have time for that, and I don't have the energy, and so I think I'll just put the jars in the oven and I will sterilize them. Even though they're brand new jars, I will sterilize them in the oven at 250 for 20 minutes, half an hour. And then I'm going to fill them up, water bath them for 10 minutes after the fact, and they're good to go. So bring them to a boil, let them boil for a bit, put some sugar in there, taste it, turn it down, simmer it, right? That will release some more juice. And again, if you don't like it, you can chuck it. So what? You throw away 2 or 3 cups of sugar. You're not even going to put that much sugar in it because they're sweet already as it is. It tastes like raspberry. Just some of the juice is gone on it because of rinsing them. As you're being told that you're wasting your time and you're just this, and this, and this, just because the person can open their mouth and somehow whatever comes out of their mouth must be right. Yeah, okay. Oh my God. Oh my God. Steady as she goes, right? 1 year. I'm living on the farm. I'm going back to the farm, people. That's how you should wake up every day. You going back to the farm like the good old days, eh? Yeah. And then you know what happened after my grandfather beat my mom when she was pregnant with me? I don't know. I ended up becoming his favorite grandchild for whatever reason. And he used to fly me up to Edmonton when I was a little girl to spend a couple, 2-3 weeks with him at a time. Yeah, he loved me so much. I guess he regretted. And he was, when I survived, he must have fell in love with me or something. Yeah. I haven't thought about my grandfather in years. I miss him. Yeah, I do. I miss him. He used to play this, I don't know what it's called, but he, you know, Ukrainian, right, out on the farms. And it came from Ukraine, this musical instrument that had a lot of strings in it. And then he had these little, you know, well, my uncles would play harmonicas, yeah. But my uncle was, or my grandfather was really good on that thing. I don't know what it was, but he was really good at it. Okay, so I got to rest for a few minutes before I do this because it's 70 minutes on my feet. But we only got 1 or 2 more cans and then we're done. That's not so bad. Yeah, there was some wastage, but it's okay. If I could see better and I not so behind on things because of things, because of other people and things, then maybe I could have done more like the good old days. But I'm satisfied with what I am doing, right? I mean, we'll figure it out. I think 1 bunch of Swish Chard, I don't think would be enough to fill up a pint-sized jar, honestly. No, you'd probably have to do 2 bunches. That's $10 a jar with Swiss chard. Beets, you have to buy the beets basically in order to get the beet leaves, right? And that's $5 a bunch, right? And then of course there's the kale. So we'll see. We'll see how many jars we get. Hold on. Okay, so far I have 14 pint-sized jars, okay? And a little bit left that would probably fit in another jar, but you know what's happening here as I'm putting this stuff in the jar? It's settling. Now I'm not pushing hard, okay? But it's settling on its own, and as it's settling, I'm just topping it off, okay? So this will be soon probably nothing by the time I'm done just topping it off because it's settling on its own. Okay? But you don't want to stuff it in there. And that's what I'm trying to say. I wouldn't stuff it in there. I just, right? You don't want it stuffed in tight, but then you also don't want not having enough in it either. Okay? So I figure if I just top it off as it settles, and then the liquid that's in there, you can see, before I fill it up with water. Now, you know, people say use filtered water when you're doing this stuff, but I don't have that system in place. So I just have to make do with what I got, which is basically tap water. I suppose I could boil it if I wanted to boil off the chlorine. But at this point, I'm doing this cold. So, I don't know, am I trapping the chlorine in the pot? Maybe I should boil the water. Maybe I should. Because then at least you boil off the chlorine, right? It'll even taste a little better than that. Like, better, right? Because, you know, you're going to want the liquid anyway after the fact, depending on, whoops, that's too big. Depending on what you're doing. So maybe before I fill up the jars, I'll just boil the water for the most part. But this water here, I want. That's the thing. I want this water. Because this water, I want a little bit in each jar. As best as I can. I'm just going to spread it out. Because it's already, it's got juice, and you know, it's juice, right? Considering all things said. And being that I've gone this far with it, I might as well boil off the chlorine. And then I'm going to let it cool before I put it into the jar to fill it up so that you have liquid over the food. And then of course you got to debubble, right? Yet. And it's not going to require a lot of liquid. Now this is where I wish I could see better. But you just make do. Yeah, you see I just got that all over the counter. Alright. And no, it's not going to kill me. Okay? You know what I'm saying? No. What do I taste? Well, the beet is overpowering. Garden beets, that's why. Not like powering, but you can definitely taste it. And they're good for you. Now I'm going to boil some water, I suppose, for what it's worth. I managed to get all of that, minus a little bit here. Which I might save. And I should save for Mari's food. Or whatever food I make. It's not very much, but it's a little bit. Okay. So now, the raspberries are pretty much done. I added a full cup of sugar in it. Just 1 cup. Pretty sure it was just 1 cup. I was going to do a half cup. It's very seedy. That's what I don't like about raspberries and blackberries. They have a lot of seeds in them. Tastes like raspberry to me. And it's not runny. Okay? It's not a jam. Nothing. It's just... So maybe when the time comes to open it, I can run it through a little blender that I use for Amari or whatever, or even this blender, to try and bust up the seeds a bit. Other than that, it's good. And if you are hungry and you only had limited amount of food, you wouldn't balk at it. No. Alright. So now before I add any more, because I can see it's still settling, I'm going to add the liquid in. Right? See? It's settling as I talk. Yeah. So we'll see. I'd put it at that is more than $5 a jar in greens. Between the beets, the beet leaves, the Swish chard, and the kale, at least 5 and 5, $10 a jar. I have 14 jars. That would be $140 of buying something green from a grocery store. Yeah. And this has Celtic sea salt. So I'm going to boil this water, then I'm going to let it cool, and then I'm going to top it off. And then I'm going to pressure can it for 70 minutes. And then I guess I'll do the raspberry next in pint-sized jars. That will be my session for today. It will be the end of this video. And then tomorrow, hopefully I won't burn out. Yesterday I didn't do anything very much. Basically just sat and rested. Yeah. And slept. And then I got up at 5:30. And I've been pretty much going ever since. Well, I actually got up. I stayed up for a bit. Then I went back to sleep because I was still tired. And then I got back up at 5:30. And I've been going since. And now it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So by the time I'm done doing everything, it will be between 7 and 8. And then tomorrow, I'll tackle what's left in the fridge. And I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. And if there's any, like, kale, you know, like, to can that little bit, because you don't can zucchini, okay? That can go outside. I don't care about that. But the kale I'd like to keep. I'm going to can them in this size. But I may go out and get a few of those marrow leaves and blanch them quickly, chop them up, and blanch them quickly, and combine them with the kale. So it's a combination of the kale and the marrow that I have outside. To make at least one full case of that size jar. And that will be good. And then, like, we'll see what happens with that bacon. I'll fry it up. I'll see what kind I'll see if it's even bacon. It could be just pork that's been cut into slices where you put salt and pepper on it. Or, I don't know. I won't know until I cook it up a little bit. Same thing with the liver. And if they're okay, then I'm canning them up too. And that will be my last of this. And everything else that went out, whether to the raccoons or in the garbage, it is what it is. And I've got plenty to last me for a while now. And I don't have to buy anything green for a while if I don't want to, when it comes to this kind of stuff. Or at least cut down to half. Buy it fresh. Next time you want, use a jar. Buy it fresh again. Next time you want, use another jar. Right? You can space it out, right? Okay, so you can see what's going on here, right? Okay, so I'm debating whether I should end this video now. 4:30 in the morning the next day, because I was ready to can. I had everything in the canner, and then Andre started acting up. And then I crashed because I had to wait for like over a half an hour before he came back, when he was supposed to be back in 5 minutes. And by the time he came back, I just couldn't can. I was too tired. I went to go lay down, and then I fell asleep. And then I woke up a couple of hours ago. So 70 minutes, I'm done. It smells really good. Like, it smells amazing.